Mumbai, 7th May 2008. A 300 square foot apartment in Malad. What happened inside those four walls that night is something even seasoned investigators say they've never encountered before. Not the killing. Killings happen. What happened after, that's what broke every officer who worked this case. A 25-year-old television executive. A Navy officer. An aspiring actress. 3 lives, 1 night, and a decision so cold-blooded it would take investigators 300 individual forensic recoveries to piece together what remained of a human being. I've covered murders, scams, political assassinations. But the Neeraj Grover case, this one stays with you. Not because of the crime alone. Because of the calculation. The methodical, almost surgical calculation of 2 people who thought they could make a body disappear. They almost did. Tonight, I'm taking you inside the case that redefined how Mumbai Police and India understood premeditated violence. This is the story of Neeraj Grover. The man who was never found whole. Let me introduce you to 3 people whose paths should never have crossed. Neeraj Grover. 25 years old. Assistant Director at Star TV, Mumbai. Ambitious, charming, well-connected in the entertainment industry. By 2008, he was the kind of guy every aspiring actor wanted to know, because he had access. Maria Susairaj. 23, an actress from Mangalore trying to make it in Mumbai. She had the looks, she had the ambition, and she had a relationship with Neeraj that was complicated. They were close. How close, exactly, became the central question of this entire trial. Then there's Emile Jerome Matthew. 31, a lieutenant commander in the Indian Navy, posted in Kochi. Maria's fiancé. A man who trusted her completely until he didn't. Here's what you need to understand about the weeks leading up to 7th May. Emile had gotten intelligence from Maria's own phone that she and Neeraj shared more than a professional relationship. He was angry. He flew to Mumbai unannounced. Now picture this, 6th May night, Neeraj Grover visits Maria's apartment in Malad. Emile is already there, waiting. What follows is an argument that escalates in minutes into something irreversible. According to court records, Emile attacked Neeraj with a kitchen knife. Neeraj Grover, young, ambitious, someone's son, someone's friend, was stabbed multiple times. He died in that apartment. What happened next is where this case becomes something else entirely. This is the part that changes everything. Any crime of passion, a stabbing in a moment of rage, carries its own moral weight. Courts understand rage. Courts have seen rage. But what Emile Jerome and Maria Susairaj did in the hours after Neeraj Grover's death, that was not rage. That was something else. According to the charge sheet filed by Mumbai Police, the 2 of them made a decision. They would not call the police. They would not panic. They would make Neeraj Grover disappear. They went to a hardware store. They bought a large saw. Over the next several hours, inside that same apartment, they dismembered Neeraj Grover's body into pieces. Forensic reports submitted to the court confirmed over 300 individual body parts and fragments were eventually recovered. Let that number sit with you. 300 pieces. They packed the remains into bags. They drove to Iktapuri, roughly 130 kilometers from Mumbai, and disposed of the remains in a forested area. Then they returned. They cleaned the apartment. Emile went back to his naval posting in Kochi. Maria stayed in Mumbai and continued her life. They believed it was over. For 12 days, it almost was. Neeraj's family in Delhi, his parents, his sister, were calling his phone, getting no answer. A 25-year-old had simply ceased to exist. No body. No crime scene. No suspect. Nothing. Criminals make one mistake. Always one. Sometimes it's arrogance. Sometimes it's digital footprint. In this case, it was both. Neeraj Grover's colleagues at Star TV noticed his absence immediately. He was punctual, professional. His disappearance on 8th May was not normal. They called. He didn't answer. His parents in Delhi filed a missing person complaint. Delhi police passed the lead to Mumbai Police. Now here's where the investigation gets interesting. Detectives traced Neeraj's last known movements through his mobile phone records. His last location ping. Malad. Maria Susairaj's area. They went to her. Maria initially told investigators she hadn't seen Neeraj in days. But investigators checked CCTV from nearby shops. They found footage that contradicted her statement. They checked Maria's phone records and found communications with Emile on the night of 7th May, frantic, late-night messages. Mumbai Police flew to Kochi. They brought Emile Jerome in for questioning. He cracked. According to investigators, Emile confessed. He said he killed Neeraj Grover in a fit of rage after finding him with Maria. He led police to the Iktapuri forest. What they found there, the fragments, the evidence, was so disturbing that multiple officers requested psychological counseling afterward. Mumbai Police later confirmed that piecing together the forensic evidence took weeks of meticulous, harrowing work. This case, in 2008, set new benchmarks for how Indian forensic teams handle dismemberment evidence. Here is where India's legal system showed both its strength and its exhausting, painful slowness. The trial stretched over years. Maria Susairaj and Emile Jerome were charged separately. The prosecution argued two distinct crimes, Emile as the killer, Maria as an active co-conspirator in the destruction of evidence, the cover-up. The defense painted different pictures. Emile's lawyers argued crime of passion, unpremeditated, fueled by jealousy and shock. Maria's defense maintained she was in shock, that she was dominated by Emile, that she had no real agency that night. The court had to determine where does the murder end and the conspiracy begin. In 2012, the Sessions Court in Mumbai delivered its judgment. Emile Jerome Matthew was convicted of murder under Section 302 of the IPC. He was sentenced to life imprisonment. Maria Susairaj was acquitted of the murder charge. The court found insufficient evidence to prove she participated in the killing itself. However, she was convicted under Section 201, destruction of evidence, and sentenced to 3 years imprisonment. By 2012, Maria had already served more than 3 years in custody since her arrest. She was released. The verdict split public opinion down the middle. Many felt Maria's role in the dismemberment made her equally culpable. Others accepted the court's distinction between the act of murder and the act of concealment. Neeraj Grover's family, his mother, his father, had to watch this unfold for 4 years in open court with graphic evidence presented about their son. Let me tell you what this case actually cost. Neeraj Grover was 25. He had his whole career ahead of him. His parents in Delhi lost their son and then spent 4 years attending hearings, submitting DNA samples, identifying fragments. That is a violence no verdict addresses. Emile Jerome Matthew, a decorated naval officer with a promising service record, is serving life in a Maharashtra prison. His career, his family's pride, finished. Maria Susairaj attempted to revive her acting career after release. She appeared in a few projects, but the shadow of this case never fully lifted. She remains, for millions of Indians, inseparable from that Malad apartment. But beyond the individuals, what did this case change? Mumbai Police overhauled their missing persons protocol after this. The 12-day gap between Neeraj's disappearance and the arrest exposed dangerous delays. Forensic standards for dismemberment cases were formally updated. This case became a reference point in Indian criminology textbooks. And socially, it forced an uncomfortable conversation about relationships, jealousy, and the violence that simmers beneath surfaces we never examine. I'll tell you what my sources inside the investigation told me. The officer who led the Iktapuri recovery said, and I'm quoting him directly, "I've seen murders. I've seen accidents. I have never in my career seen evidence of something so deliberately, so coldly erased." That sentence tells you everything. Neeraj Grover didn't just lose his life. He nearly lost his existence. Almost. The system brought him back, 300 pieces at a time. Neeraj Grover was 25 years old. He walked into an apartment and never walked out. The lesson India must take from this: missing persons reports cannot wait. Every hour matters. Every hour. If this case stayed with you the way it has stayed with me for years, share it. Someone needs to hear it. Subscribe to Mahayukti Crime, because the truth doesn't find you. You have to go looking for it. मैं हूँ विक्रम. अगले हफ्ते मिलते हैं.